Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Conor here and we are back with another recorded video. As I say, hope you're all doing really well. Hope you enjoyed the debrief last night. Apologies for the lack of content over the weekend. It was a hectic one for me. We were supposed to get to Ellen Road, then complications arose, wasn't able to go. Annoying, I was going to try and get some content for you guys down there, but it is what it is. We move on. So here we are going to discuss some Leeds United news today. We're going to discuss Gnonto. We're going to discuss Jack Harrison. Before we get into the video, please make sure you're slapping a like on the video. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel as always. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is going to be an interactive one. This is where I want to hear your guys' thoughts. We're also going to discuss Liam Cooper as well today, which I think we're going to start on actually. So, big posing of questions on Liam Cooper at this moment in time. Does he get back into this Leeds United starting 11 once fit? Fascinated to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. For me, he doesn't. However, I understand that Grazia might look to a little bit of experience, might look to maybe partner someone like Max Verber with Liam Cooper, although that would be, I think, a little bit of a lack of balance in the back line, obviously with two left footers. But, you know, we've had abundances of right footers in that back line prior, and it'll just be interesting to hear what you guys think on that one. I think what I'm liking at the minute when we consider Liam Cooper is that it's nice to see that Robin and Max have built up a real partnership, I feel, under Javi Grazia. I think the issue with Liam Cooper and reinstating him back into this side, this starting 11, is Liam naturally gets injured continuously. He really is a bit of a harsh but true, a bit of a broken player, and we've known that for a while now. So if you are to disrupt that partnership of Robin Koch and Max Verber, unfortunately, you are essentially giving that power almost to Liam Cooper to come back in and maybe get himself affiliated with the side again, and then for him to just become injured once again. And then there's a huge disruption once again. There's also an argument that Liam Cooper was our most influential defender. I do feel now it's Max Verber. I think Verber is the captain in the side amongst that back line. I think he instructs Robin Koch very well. And then you've got to look at talent when it comes to Max Verber or Liam Cooper. It is naturally going to be Liam Cooper. You look at errors made, and I know this is harsh on Coops because I can't think of many that have been made this season, but when you look at overall quality, as I've just mentioned, Verber makes very, very few mistakes and makes a lot of correct decisions. So for me, Liam Cooper comes back in, but on the bench. I think you look at someone like Diogo Montero, who we obviously got in January, and I think you maybe just drop him out and put Cooper in there. But I think when you're looking at someone like Pascal, who is a much better defender, in my opinion, in terms of quality, than Liam Cooper, who really shouldn't be getting into the starting 11 now above Robin and Max, I can't see how that is a realistic scenario, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it's something that Leeds should be looking at. I don't think it's something that we should really be entertaining. I think Coops comes back in. He's a voice within the changing rooms, but this is exactly the moment that we need Coops to almost be phased out. And I think we're going to see that with a lot of Leeds of the old guard at the minute, because I think we're moving to a new era now, hopefully, in the Premier League. And yeah, there's a lot of other considerations, like Charlie Cresswell potentially coming back into the fold next season. We'll have to just wait and see on that one. According to several sources, apparently Jack Harrison behind the scenes is negotiating a contract with Leeds United. I find that very interesting, obviously with everything that went on with Leicester in the January window, and that potentially being something that Leeds are entertaining. We've essentially heard from Andrea Radrizzani that Leeds were looking at Zaniolo. That I find very interesting in itself, because Leeds were evidently looking at a plan without Jack Harrison. What does that say? You know, I mean, looking at Zaniolo anyway was an interesting one for me. Obviously, he's been smashed by injury throughout his entire career, but that never seems to put Leeds off when it comes to the recruitment team. And Jack Harrison has been quite consistent when it's come to, being available for Leeds, which I think is very, very important. I think there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to Jack Harrison. I understand a lot of the people who'll come back and discuss XG. I understand the people who'll come back and discuss his 3 years at Leeds United and how much he has contributed. I think there is an issue with Jack, and there is an issue for me because of the ceiling that this kid has. I've always said that with criticism, that I've laid at his door, I think it's justified on the premise that he is one of our higher ceiling players. He's also one of the senior players. I'm still hearing people saying he's only 26, which is quite staggering for me. 26 in football nowadays is old. It's not even, I don't even know if it's in your prime anymore. I think prime is probably 22, 23, 24 when it comes to a midfielder. I think 26 is probably old/experienced. I think when you look at his goal contributions overall, they have been very good for Leeds. But I think, as I've always said on this channel, it's in clusters. And for me, at the minute, and for a while now, we've seen more bad than good when it's come to Jack Harrison. And I think that's overall why Leicester were not willing to go above 20 million. I think that's why Newcastle have pulled out of negotiations and are not going to, and you know, went full steam ahead on Anthony Gordon. And we know Gordon's got his own, you know, issues when it comes to consistency. But I do feel that being consistent is a marker of talent and quality, which both of them probably intertwine. I think with Jack, he's far too inconsistent. And I think one good game every 11 to 12 games is something that elite clubs would look at and think, nah, not for us. Not for us. So I think that's my overall point when it's come to Jack. Of course, people are right when they talk about his goal contributions and over the last 3 years, but we're not talking about the last 3 years, we're talking about the here and now. And I've always laid the criticism at his door that when these goals have come, they've come in, you know, 2 or 3 games, and then we won't see Jack for 7 or 8 games. Then he'll maybe get another goal or an assist, and then we won't see Jack for another 6 or 7. That is a problem. And I think, for me, the frustrating aspect with Jack is there's only really been criticism laid at his door this season. I still think even when he's got the goal contribution, that goal contributions in the last couple of seasons, it says more about Leeds' recruitment strategy and not being able to get it right in that aspect. You know, I do think there are more effective players out there than Jack Harrison with the amount of ball he gets. So I do think he gets a lot of boosting up from fans because of his previous, you know, endeavour with Leeds United, where he was much more decent under Marcelo Bielsa. But I do feel this has been a consistent problem. I think the issue with him is being out of form for such long periods of time is not helpful. I think consistently making the wrong decisions, running with your head down, poor set piece taking, and a lot of him losing the ball, which was another example at the weekend when he was dispossessed. I think it was 11 times I saw online. Those lead to opposition attacks. Those lead to chances for the opposition, which may not come off at points, but that's why those things get ignored, because they don't come off. If they did come off, Jack Harrison would have a lot more criticism at his door because play breaks down with him very, very, very frequently. And I think that's why it's very frustrating. So overall, listen, would I give Jack Harrison a new contract? I'm really unsure. And I'd be interested to hear what you guys think on that one. Because could we get better out there? I think so. But it also depends on if we're going to be in the Premier League. Does he even want to be at Leeds? That's another question. Because, I mean, Brendan Rodgers has said that they did have conversations. I mean, we've been led to believe essentially that it was Jack's decision to stay at Leeds. I don't think that's true. But for me, I really wouldn't mind a new contract and a sell situation where Leeds are able to get a little bit more from what they would now with Jack Harrison, and it would not be surprising to me if the club were thinking like that, and they probably had a chat with Jack Harrison about that. That's my thought on that one. And hopefully we'd be able to get a little bit more money for Jack. Juventus are interested in signing Willy Gnonto from Leeds United in the summer window and could try and include him in the Weston McKennie deal. A fascinating story coming out of Calcio Mercato this morning, which I find quite staggering. I'm sure Juventus are under a transfer embargo, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. I can't really see that one being done, to be honest. I mean, listen, if Leeds stay in the division, McKennie's getting done, isn't it? It's in place if we stay up, and I think McKennie is well aware of that, and I think Leeds are well aware of that. I really could not see that happening. I think the chat of maybe Juventus inquiring about Willian Gnonto isn't far off the mark. I think Leeds will do extremely well to keep hold of Gnonto in this window, and it probably comes back to the overall point of this is why he needs to be starting for Leeds, because he's by far, at the minute, our best player. Way above Jack Harrison, way above Somerville, way above obviously Rutter at the minute. And I think you play your most informed players when you're in trouble. I don't care if if teams are doubling up on him. I don't care if they've got a tactical plan on Willian Gnonto, because with Sinistera back into the fold now, hopefully with Mark Rocker getting on the ball a little bit more and being able to distribute it here, there and everywhere, we're going to have more threats in and around the front line. Rodrigo, another one. And when you've got more threats along the front line, teams can't just double up on one player, triple up on one player like they've done with Gnonto, like they did with Rafinha, because you've got other threats, but you need to have other threats consistently there. And then it becomes more difficult for the opposition team to mitigate against. And I think when you've got Willian Gnonto at your disposal, once again, we saw it at the weekend, he has to start. For me, Somerville, I said it about 18 months ago, I'm still not 100% sure on him. He's very, very, very raw still, which is crazy to say he's older than Gnonto. Gnonto has experience with his national team. I think Somerville still has massive, massive leaps to make when it comes to defensive work, offensive work. I think some Leeds fans overrate him massively. I think it's one of those things where when you look at consistency, it doesn't always have to be about goals and assists. And I think this is the thing with Jack Harrison, right? I think there are a lot of Leeds fans who would just turn around, fair play, it's football subjective, and would say, Jack Harrison had a good game at the weekend, he got a goal and an assist. But if you look at the game, Jack Harrison was the worst player on the pitch. And football, you can't just think to yourself that it's just a data spreadsheet. You watch a football game, it's about an eye test as well. And I think when you were looking at Rafinha last season, for example, the reason he kept us up, in my opinion, was because Rafinha would take 4 players out of the game. Even with when he wasn't getting goals and assists, he'd take 4 players out of the game. He'd play a defence-splitting pass. He'd put a brilliant ball into the box, and it would be flicked on and then finished by whoever. He would create space. It's not just about goals and assists. That consistency comes from other forms, and Rafinha gave you that consistency all the time. It's not just about goals and assists, and that might sound very contradictory because I've already mentioned Jack Harrison and him not getting goals and assists. But the thing is, Jack's not consistent. He's not playing well when he's not getting goals and assists. Rafinha would still be playing exceptionally well when he wasn't getting goals and assists, and would benefit the team overall. So that's why, for me, Rafinha did keep Leeds United up. Willian Gnonto is of the same mould. I think when he plays, it's not just about goals, it's not just about assists, it's taking the opposition out of the game, which is what Rafinha used to do. It's when you're doubling up on Willian Gnonto, it's an advantageous point for Leeds United. It's a really good point for Leeds United, because if you've got other quality on the pitch, that other quality is going to hurt the opposition because they're focusing on one player. The issue is there's not been quality around Willian Gnonto in the last month to 5 weeks. Bamford's been off it. Aronson's nowhere near. Harrison's nowhere near it. Somerville's nowhere near it. So there needs to be players, i.e. Rodrigo, Sinistera, to be able to hurt opposition teams, not just it being focused on Willian Gnonto. Willian Gnonto is the closest we've got to Rafinha in terms of quality. So that's my perspective on that one. I think another positive with Leeds at the minute is probably Junior Firpo. I think he's been absolutely exceptional. Has he proved me wrong? Yes. If you genuinely believed Junior Firpo was going to come back and be as good as what he is now, I think you're a liar, and I do not believe you whatsoever. I think every Leeds fan would almost laugh when it came to his presence at Leeds United. And I'm really, really encouraged. Really, really encouraged from what I'm seeing. I don't think Stroud gets in at left back. I think Junior keeps his place. And I still thought at the weekend he was good. A lot of the attacking presence wasn't coming from Brighton down their right-hand side. It was coming down their left-hand side, Matoma versus Ayling. That was something they targeted. And I think to finish it off, obviously Leeds hit the same amount of points that we were under Bielsa at this point last season. Obviously, prior to him leaving, Marsh coming in. I think I'm still a little bit wary, and as you guys know, said it on the debrief last night what I think. Still a little bit wary about where we are, about the amount of games we've won, which is now I believe it's the least amount in the Premier League. And yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one. I don't think there's a poor team at the minute in the Premier League. I think that's the issue. But hopefully I'm wrong. And guys, we'll have some more news come in for you tomorrow. We'll have some more of this good stuff that I know you guys enjoy throughout the day. We'll have your preview for Wolves, where we're going to be hooking up with Talking Wolves. We'll have some more Betmate offers for you. We'll have some more Patreon content for you as well. Make sure you're clocked in. Guys, have a